Hey there, designers. Atal Banda here. See, there's a quote that says, "A mind stretched by a new experience will never go back to the same old dimensions." I'll say it again. A mind stretched by a new experience will never go back to the same old dimensions. I absolutely love this quote because it's basically saying once your mind is stretched by the various experiences that we have in our daily lives, we begin to see things differently. We might experience the exact same things after that, but we approach them differently now. We handle them differently. We handle them with the knowledge that we've gained from the previous experience that stretched our experiences, that stretched our minds, if you will. See, it's like you get a whole new lens from which we can look at life. It's like the things that once were blurry, all of a sudden now begin to see a little bit clearer. Or the things that we never took note of in the past, all of a sudden now become a little bit more prominent or a little bit more obvious to us. See, our minds are stretched by all kinds of different experiences. And one of the great things is we can actually stretch our minds by experiences that we create. You know, these experiences can look like things like a deep conversation we have with someone that gives us a little bit more insight onto different things, or a book that we're reading, or a documentary that we watch, or a seminar that we attend. See, all sorts of different experiences that we can put ourselves in that can help us to stretch our minds to now start to begin to approach life a little bit differently. The other thing is there's experiences that we have that are just basically part of life's journey. Now, these experiences might not be things that we want, and most of the time are things that we don't plan. But these experiences as well stretch us in a way that give our minds a whole new dimension, if you will, that now again we can approach life differently through, if we allow our minds to be stretched through them. Now, some of these experiences could be, a loss, whether it's a loss of a job or a loss of a loved one, that kind of help us to dig a little bit deeper and find strengths that we didn't know that we had. Or maybe it's a really, really crushing breakup that makes us see things a little bit differently, or some bad health diagnosis that we might get from a doctor that makes us also start to look at life a little bit differently. See, the important thing to notice is that these experiences can come in all different shapes and sizes, and things that we create or things that we let happen. But whenever it's the things that life just kind of throws in front of us, it's important that we start to take note of those things to see exactly how they may or may not be stretching us. Try to look for the opportunity for us to actually be stretched by these experiences. You see, things that really, really stretch us and stretch our minds through our experiences are usually uncomfortable. So we try to avoid them. Even when it comes to like the getting down to read a book or watch a documentary, those aren't things that, for the most part, aren't fun. So we avoid them. But the one thing to take note is when we actually consciously try to shape and put ourselves in experiences that will stretch our minds, it does two things for us. Number one, it prepares us. It gets us so we're better prepared to deal with some of the unplanned experiences that life is going to present in front of us at some point in time, because it just happens. It's just part of life. So when we actually take the time to put ourselves in experiences or in situations that will stretch our mind, what we're doing is we're preparing ourselves for some of these unplanned events that will be coming. See, there's something that Will Smith says is, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So if you're constantly trying to put yourself in experiences to stretch yourself, when you come across these obstacles, these crises, these different unplanned experiences that we have on this journey called life, we're better prepared for them, better able to navigate through them and deal with them just straight up. The second thing is, it allows us to tap into our potential. You see, we all have, as I've mentioned several times, this unlimited potential. But the only way that we can deal with it is if we actually tap into it. And tapping into it means stretching ourselves in one way or another, whether it's stretching ourselves consciously or just stretching ourselves through the things that life just kind of throws at us. It's like a muscle. The only way you can know just how strong your muscle is to test it. Is to lift something heavier and go a little heavier and go a little heavier and go a little heavier until you reach your breaking point. But that's the same thing with potential. You keep on tapping into it and tapping into it and tapping into it just to continue to see just how far your limits can stretch. And as I like to say, our potential is limitless. So we must continue to tap into it. So that's the second thing that it does when we consciously try to stretch our minds. So I'm here to encourage you to take control of your growth. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, the seventh habit is sharpen the saw. That's basically what you're doing by stretching your mind. You're sharpening the saw so that you can cut down the different trees that come across you more easily. So I want to encourage you, stretch yourself. Put yourself in experiences that will stretch your mind. Read some books, watch some documentaries, go to some seminars, have some deep conversations about things that matter in this thing we call life, as opposed to just what's on TV or what's this celebrity doing or wearing or whatever. Do some things to stretch yourself. So my name is Atal Bandi with the Agua Design Group. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. If there's someone you think needs to watch this video, by all means share it. If you've got any comments that you want to make, please leave them at the bottom. I'm always welcome some healthy dialogue. But that's it for today. A mind stretched by new experiences will never go back to the same old dimensions. I'm Atal Bandi, and I hope this day finds you designing your life.